The seas of Aurelia stretched endlessly under a sky painted with two pale moons. Mist clung to the waves like a ghostly veil, hiding islands and reefs from the naked eye. Many sailors feared these waters, speaking in whispers of ships that floated without crews, glowing faintly in the darkness. They said these ghostly vessels carried stories of heroes from a time long forgotten. They moved as if they were alive. Captain Lyra Vance had heard the legends all her life. She had grown up listening to old tales of the lost Earth fleet, sailors and explorers whose deeds had become stories told around flickering lights. But Lyra was no ordinary listener. She was a seeker. Her heart ached for adventure, for the thrill of discovering what lay beyond the known. And Aurelia's haunted seas called to her like a song she could not resist. Lyra stood at the railing of her own ship, the Star Wanderer, feeling the salty wind whip her hair around her face. Her crew bustled below decks, checking equipment, mapping routes, and preparing for the long journey ahead. They were a motley group, humans and aliens from distant worlds, each with their own skills and reasons for joining her. Some sought knowledge, others fortune, but all were drawn by the same promise: the chance to witness something extraordinary. "I don't like it," said Jaren. The ship's navigator, a tall human with sun-browned skin, his eyes narrowed as he scanned the foggy horizon. "These waters are unnatural. The currents don't follow any charted patterns in those lights." His voice trailed off. Lyra smiled, a spark of excitement in her gaze. "That's exactly why we're here, Jaren. If it were safe and ordinary, it wouldn't be worth exploring." A low hum of energy suddenly vibrated through the deck. Lyra and her crew looked around, startled. The hum grew stronger, almost like a heartbeat rising from the depths of the ocean itself. Then, through the thick mist, a faint shape began to emerge. At first it looked like a shadow on the water, a trick of the light. But then it became clear. It was a ship, enormous and ancient. Its sails torn but glowing faintly with a blue light that danced across the mist. The crew gasped. Even the aliens, who had seen many strange things across the galaxy, stared in awe. Lyra gripped the railing. "Steady," she commanded. "We're not here to fight. We're here to see. Keep your eyes open and your minds ready. This is history moving." The ghostly ship glided forward as if it had been waiting for them. Its wooden hull was weathered, scarred by storms and time, yet it moved with purpose. Strange markings covered its sides, symbols that none of Lyra's crew could read. And then, without warning, holographic images flickered around the ship. Figures in old-fashioned uniforms, sailors, and explorers from Earth's distant past appeared, their faces frozen in moments of bravery, fear, and determination. Jaren stepped back, almost losing his balance. It's alive," he whispered. "Not like a person, but it's thinking. It's remembering." Lyra nodded, her heart pounding with excitement. "Yes, these ships are not just stories. They are memories, echoes of the past preserved in ways we don't yet understand. We have to be careful, but we also have to learn. Come on, we need to follow it." The Star Wanderer followed the glowing ship through the misty waters. The ghostly vessel led them to a series of small islands, each covered with ruins of buildings that had long since crumbled into the sea. Strange devices, old and alien in design, jutted from the ground and sparkled faintly with energy. It was as if the islands themselves were part of a vast network linked to the wandering ships. As they approached, a sudden surge of wind and water almost knocked the Star Wanderer off course. The ghostly ship remained steady, cutting through the waves with grace. Lyra realized that the ship's movements were precise, almost intelligent. It was not lost. It had a purpose. "Look at that," said an alien crew member named Kira, her scales shimmering in the moonlight. She pointed to a holographic map projected from the ghostly ship into the air above the deck. The map showed paths across the oceans, routes connecting the ruins and islands. "It's a guide," she said softly. "A map of something important." Lyra's mind raced. If these ships are carrying history, maybe they are also guardians. Guardians of knowledge, of technology, of human stories that were almost forgotten. The crew spent hours observing the ghostly ship, documenting every detail, every holographic image, and every symbol. Lyra felt a thrill she had never known. Here, in these strange, haunted waters, humanity's past was alive, and perhaps, if they could understand it, could guide their future. As night deepened, the mist thickened, and more ships began to appear. First one, then another, until a small fleet of ghostly vessels glowed through the fog. They moved in patterns, circling each other like dancers in a silent, ancient ballet. Lyra watched in awe. "They're communicating," she said. "Through movement, light, maybe even thought." The crew realized that the ships responded to their presence. When the Star Wanderer moved closer, the ghostly fleet shifted, forming a path forward. It was as if the ships were testing them, seeing if they were worthy to follow. Lyra felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. "This is just the beginning," she said quietly to herself. "We are not just observers. We are part of their story now." Suddenly, one of the ghostly ships projected a figure that stepped forward from its deck. It was a holographic human, a captain from centuries ago. His eyes seemed to look directly at Lyra, full of purpose and challenge. The figure raised a hand and pointed toward a distant part of the ocean where the mist was thickest. "They want us to go there," Lyra said. "They are showing us something." The crew prepared for the journey, their hearts pounding. The unknown stretched before them, full of danger and wonder. But Lyra knew that this was why they had come. To uncover the secrets of the ghostly fleet, to witness the echoes of legends, and to protect the stories that defined humanity. The Star Wanderer moved forward, guided by the ghostly ships. The seas of Aurelia whispered around them, and the mist seemed to part, revealing glimpses of ruins. Ships and figures that had been lost to time. Every moment was a discovery, a puzzle, a chance to witness the impossible. Lyra stood at the railing once more, her eyes fixed on the glowing fleet ahead. She felt a deep connection to the past, to the legends that had shaped humanity, and to the future that they could now touch. The ghostly ships were not just wandering, they were waiting. Waiting for humans who could understand courage, curiosity, and honor, and Lyra knew that she and her crew had been chosen. The night deepened, and the twin moons reflected on the glowing waters. The ghostly fleet continued its silent dance, leading the Star Wanderer into uncharted seas. And as the mist swirled around them, Lyra felt the first stirrings of a legend reborn. This was only the beginning. The Star Wanderer sailed deeper into Aurelia's misty oceans, following the glowing fleet. The twin moons cast pale light on the water, and the mist swirled like smoke around the ship. Lyra and her crew could feel the strange energy in the air. It was both beautiful and unsettling, as if the sea itself was alive. The ghostly ships moved with precision, circling and weaving around the Star Wanderer, guiding it toward a cluster of islands that rose like jagged teeth from the ocean. These islands were covered in ruins, ancient structures that had survived centuries of storms and tides. Strange devices jutted from the ground, humming faintly with energy. Some appeared alien, while others were unmistakably human in design, yet centuries ahead of any technology the crew had ever seen. "Jiran," the navigator scanned the area with his instruments. "These ruins. They're connected," he said, pointing to the readings. "There's a network here, some kind of energy grid linking the islands. And these ships, they respond to it. The closer we get to the ruins, the more active the fleet becomes." Lyra nodded, her eyes fixed on the glowing ships. "It's like they're protecting something," she said, "or leading us to it." Kira, the alien crew member, crouched near the edge of the deck, her scales catching the moonlight. "I've never seen energy behave like this," she said softly. "It's almost alive. The ships are drawn to it, and it reacts to them. They belong together, like pieces of a single puzzle." As they approached the largest island, the ghostly ships began to form a pattern, encircling the ruins in a protective ring. Lyra felt a shiver of awe. She realized that these ships were more than vessels, they were guardians. Watching over something important. "Prepare to explore," she commanded. "But stay alert. We don't know what we'll find, and we're not alone out here." The crew lowered a small landing craft and made their way to the island. The ruins were massive, with stone pillars and walls etched with strange symbols. Faint holographic images flickered across the stones, showing scenes of humans and aliens working together, building, exploring, and discovering. It was a record of history, preserved in ways that defied explanation. Lyra ran her fingers over one of the carvings. These images, they're not just memories. They're instructions, she said. Information about the past, and maybe about the technology that created these ships. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the island. Dust and sand shifted beneath their feet, and a hidden doorway opened at the base of one of the ruins. Blue light spilled from the entrance, and the ghostly ships hovered above, their glow intensifying. "This is it," Lyra said, her heart racing. "They want us to go inside." The crew moved carefully into the doorway, stepping into a vast chamber filled with strange machinery. Holographic screens floated in mid-air, displaying maps, star charts, and records of ancient voyages. The air was thick with energy, and the hum of the machines resonated with the rhythm of the ocean above. Jaren studied the charts. These show routes across the seas and beyond. Some of these paths lead to other planets. The ships weren't just exploring oceans, they were traveling across space. Lyra's mind reeled. That explains the legends. These were not ordinary ships. They carried knowledge, history, and technology. They were humanity's first explorers before humans even left Earth. And now they're still here, waiting for us to understand them. As they explored, the crew noticed faint footprints on the floor small, glowing impressions that moved as if alive. Kira touched one and felt a pulse of energy. "These are like guides," she said. "They show us the path, and they react to our choices. We can't take a wrong step." Ira led the crew deeper into the chamber, following the glowing footprints. They entered a circular room where a large holographic globe hovered above a pedestal. The globe displayed Aurelia's oceans, but it also projected star systems, showing connections between planets and distant worlds. The ghostly ships appeared around the globe, their lights syncing with the patterns on the map. "It's a record of exploration," Lyra whispered. "A map of human ambition, of where we've been and what we've discovered. These ships, they are keepers of knowledge, waiting for the right people to continue the journey." Suddenly, the air shifted. The hum of the machinery grew louder, and the walls of the chamber glowed with energy. A voice echoed through the room, calm and commanding. It was not a human voice, yet it carried understanding. "Who seeks the knowledge of the lost fleet?" the voice asked. Lyra stepped forward. "I am Lyra Vance, captain of the Star Wanderer. We come seeking to understand, to learn, and to protect." The voice seemed to consider her words. "Only those with courage, curiosity, and honor may proceed. The knowledge here is not for the selfish or the reckless. It is a gift and a responsibility." Lyra nodded. "We understand. We are ready." A section of the globe shifted, revealing a hidden compartment beneath the pedestal. Inside were intricate models of the ghostly ships, along with detailed logs and manuals. These were blueprints, records of the ship's construction, and guides to their operation. Lyra realized that the ghostly fleet was more than just memories. It was technology preserved through centuries, waiting for humans who could respect it. As the crew studied the models, a sudden alarm sounded. The mist outside thickened unnaturally, and strange shapes appeared on the horizon. Another fleet approached, this one real, not ghostly. Ships of alien design, armed and menacing, cut through the waters toward the island. "They've found us," Jaren said grimly. "They want the technology for themselves." Lyra's mind raced. "We can't let them take it. The ghostly fleet trusts us. We have to defend these ruins, and we have to protect the knowledge." The alien fleet attacked, firing energy beams that struck the water and rocks around the island. The Star Wanderer returned fire, but the aliens were numerous and well-armed. Lyra realized that brute force alone would not win this battle. They needed strategy and the help of the ghostly ships. Lyra turned to the glowing fleet outside. "We need your help," she shouted. "Guide us. Protect the knowledge." The ghostly ships responded immediately. They moved like shadows across the water, creating barriers of energy that blocked the alien attacks. Some ships appeared to phase through the enemy, striking without being touched. Their movements were fluid, intelligent, and coordinated. Lyra watched in awe. These ships were alive in a way she had never imagined. Using the guidance of the ghostly fleet, the Star Wanderer and its crew launched a counterattack. They navigated the ruins, using the energy pathways and glowing footprints to avoid the alien fire. The ghostly ships formed a protective ring, pushing back the invaders with bursts of light and energy. During the battle, Lyra noticed one ship breaking from the fleet, moving toward a hidden section of the ruins. She realized it was showing her something important. "Follow it," she shouted. "There's a secret inside the ruins that can help us." The crew raced after the ghostly ship, entering a hidden tunnel beneath the stone floor. The tunnel led to a massive chamber filled with more holographic projections, showing not just the ships, but the heroes who had sailed them. Figures from Earth's past, explorers and scientists, sailors and dreamers, appeared in the holograms. Their courage and ingenuity were recorded, preserved across centuries. Lyra understood. These ghostly ships were more than vessels. They were echoes of humanity's best qualities, served to inspire and guide future generations. And now, they were offering that knowledge to Lyra and her crew. The chamber began to glow brighter, and the holograms expanded, showing pathways across Aurelia and beyond. Lyra realized that if they could master this knowledge, they could not only defend the ruins, but also unlock the full potential of the ghostly fleet. The alien invaders, sensing they were losing, began to retreat. The ghostly ships moved with precision, guiding the Star Wanderer and its crew safely back to the surface. The mist began to clear, revealing the calm, glowing seas once more. Lyra stood at the edge of the deck, looking out at the fleet. "We've learned so much," she said softly, "but this is only the beginning. The secrets of these ships, the stories they carry, we have to protect them, and we have to continue their journey." Jaren nodded. "We've seen courage, curiosity, and honor in action today. And now we understand what these ships are. They are not just legends, they are living history," Kira added, her voice thoughtful, "and we are part of it now. This is our responsibility as well." Lyra smiled, feeling the weight and the wonder of it all. The ghostly fleet circled above them, their glow reflecting in the calm waters. Aurelia's oceans, once feared and mysterious, now seemed full of promise and discovery. The crew of the Star Wanderer had not only survived their first encounter with the ghostly ships, they had begun to understand them. And in that understanding, they saw a new purpose. Humanity's past, preserved in these wandering ships, was not lost. It was waiting for those brave enough to seek it, for those willing to learn. And for those ready to continue the journey where legends were born, Lyra knew that the seas of Aurelia held many more secrets, and that the adventures ahead would test their courage and wisdom. But for the first time she felt certain, humanity's spirit. Its creativity and bravery could guide them through the unknown. The ghostly ships had awakened, and so had a new chapter of human history. The calm after the battle was brief. Though the alien invaders had retreated, Lyra knew they would return, stronger and more determined. The ghostly fleet hovered around the Star Wanderer, their glowing forms reflecting in the pale waters. Lyra felt a strange mix of awe and responsibility. These ships carried history, knowledge, and the spirit of humanity itself. She could not fail them. "Prepare the ship," Lyra commanded. "We may have a moment of peace, but the real challenge is ahead. We have to awaken the fleet fully, or all this knowledge could be lost." Ouch. Jaren adjusted the navigation systems. "Do we even know how to do that? We barely understand what these ships are, let alone how to control them." Kira looked at the glowing vessels above. "It's not about control," she said softly. "It's about connection. They respond to intent, to courage, and to honor. If we show them that we respect their purpose, they may follow us fully." Lyra nodded. "Then we do it. All of us. We show them that we are worthy." The crew gathered at the center of the island, around the ancient pedestal where the holographic globe floated. Lyra stepped forward, raising her hand as the ghostly ships pulsed in response. She spoke clearly, her voice steady, filled with determination. "We are here to honor your legacy," she said. "We will protect your knowledge, continue your journey, and carry forward the courage, curiosity, and creativity you represent. Show us the path, and we will follow." The ships responded. Light streamed from their sails, weaving patterns across the water. The mist swirled and lifted, revealing more of the ruins than the crew had seen before. The air vibrated with energy, and the holograms of ancient heroes expanded, showing their deeds in bright, vivid detail. Then, from the largest ghostly ship, a figure stepped forward. It was the hologram of a captain, his uniform old-fashioned, yet his presence commanding. He spoke without words, yet the crew understood him perfectly. Images of past voyages, of exploration and discovery, flowed from him into the globe. Lyra could see the paths of the fleet, the challenges they had faced, and the wisdom they had gained. "This is it," Lyra whispered. "The full knowledge. The legacy of humanity's explorers." As she spoke, a sudden alarm sounded. The alien fleet had returned, more numerous than before. Ships armed with powerful energy weapons cut through the mist, heading straight for the island. They had learned from their previous encounter and intended to claim the ghostly fleet and the knowledge it protected. Lyra turned to her crew. "We cannot fight them alone. We have the ghostly ships with us now. Follow my lead and trust them."
Ow.
The ghostly vessels responded instantly. They moved with purpose, forming barriers of light and energy around the ruins. Some of the ships became nearly invisible, phasing through the enemy fleet to strike without warning. Others created currents in the water that pushed the alien ships back. Disrupting their formations, the battle was chaotic and dangerous. Energy beams lit up the night sky and waves crashed over the Star Wanderer as it maneuvered among the ghostly ships. Lyra felt fear, but she also felt a deep connection to the fleet. They were not just machines or memories, they were allies, sentient beings bound to the courage and creativity of humanity. Lyra spotted a small, glowing path leading to a hidden chamber beneath the ruins. She realized this was the final part of the ritual. The ghostly ships were guiding them to it. "This is the key," she shouted to her crew. "The chamber will awaken the fleet fully. Let's move." The crew followed her, diving into the chamber. Inside, they found a massive control sphere covered in intricate carvings and glowing symbols. The holograms of ancient heroes surrounded it, and the energy in the room pulsed like a heartbeat. Lyra stepped forward and placed her hands on the sphere. "Show us how to honor you," she said. "We are ready to continue your journey," the sphere responded. Lights ran across the carvings, connecting with the holographic fleet above. The ghostly ships glowed brighter, their movements more coordinated. The energy from the chamber surged, and a wave of power rippled across the ocean, lifting the spirits of the fleet. Outside, the alien fleet attacked again, but their weapons seemed less effective. The ghostly ships moved as one, creating shields and counterattacks that were precise and unstoppable. The aliens struggled, their formations breaking as the spectral fleet gained full control of the battlefield. Lyra realized the final step of the ritual required bravery and sacrifice. One of the glowing paths led directly into the center of the chamber, where energy surged wildly. Anyone who touched it would be affected by immense power. Without hesitation, Lyra stepped forward. "I will do it," she said. "For humanity, for the fleet, and for all who will come after us." The energy enveloped her, filling her body with warmth and light. She felt herself connected to the ghostly ships, to the heroes of the past, and to the oceans of Aurelia. Knowledge, courage, and wisdom flowed into her mind. She saw the fleet's history, their voyages, and their purpose. And she understood fully that this legacy was not meant to be controlled, it was meant to guide. The chamber glowed brilliantly, and the ghostly fleet above responded. Their sails expanded, their forms solidified, and their presence became undeniable. They were fully awake, fully sentient, ready to continue their journey with humanity. Lyra stepped back, her heart pounding as the ships rose into the air above the ocean. The mist cleared, revealing a fleet of glowing vessels that moved with intelligence and purpose. The twin moons reflected off the water, making the scene almost otherworldly. The alien invaders, seeing the power of the awakened fleet, attempted to flee. But the ghostly ships did not allow it. They guided the Star Wanderer and the crew in a coordinated strike, forcing the aliens to retreat far beyond the misty horizon. Breathing heavily, Lyra looked at her crew. "We did it," she said. "The fleet is fully awakened. The knowledge, the courage, the spirit of humanity, it's alive again." Jaren smiled, awe in his eyes. "We weren't just witnesses. We were part of it. We helped bring this legacy back." Kira nodded. "And now it will continue. Humanity's spirit is stronger than ever, guided by these ships and the lessons they carry." The ghostly fleet hovered above them, their sails glowing like constellations on the ocean. Lyra felt a deep sense of pride and responsibility. These ships were not just vessels. They were a living record of humanity's courage, curiosity, and creativity. They had wandered the seas for centuries, waiting for those who could honor their purpose. And now they had found that in Lyra and her crew. Lyra climbed to the highest deck of the Star Wanderer, looking out at the glowing fleet. She felt a connection that went beyond time and space. The ships were not just reminders of the past, they were a guide for the future. "We will continue your journey," she said softly. "We will explore, discover, and protect. Your legacy will never be forgotten." The fleet responded with a wave of light as if acknowledging her promise. And then, slowly, they began to move across the oceans of Aurelia, leading the Star Wanderer into new territories, new adventures, and new mysteries. Lyra knew that this was only the beginning. The seas of Aurelia, once feared and mysterious, now held endless possibilities. The ghostly ships, once lost in wandering, had found purpose again. And humanity, guided by courage, honor, and curiosity, was ready to follow them wherever they would go. The twin moons reflected on the calm, glowing waters. The mist had lifted, revealing a horizon filled with promise. Lyra smiled, feeling hope, wonder, and determination. The ghostly fleet had awakened, and with it, the spirit of humanity shone brighter than ever before as the ships sailed into the night, carrying the stories of legends long past. Lyra knew that the journey of the wandering fleet and humanity would continue for generations to come. The seas of Aurelia whispered around them, full of secrets, adventures, and the endless possibility of discovery. And above it all, the ghostly ships shone like living stars, a reminder that courage, curiosity, and honor could never be lost. Lyra took a deep breath, ready for whatever lay ahead. Humanity's story was alive, vibrant, and unbroken, and she would make sure it continued.